Hello and welcome to my review of issue 65 of the Warhammer 40,000 Conquest magazine subscription from hatchett Partworks. Included in this issue are the Space Marine heroes. Separately, they will set you back a whopping £30. You could look at it from the point of view of them being £15 each, or £20 for the captain in Cataphractii Terminator armour, or the chaplain in power armour. Both these miniatures were included in one of the Horus Heresy boxed games a few years ago, and then eventually Games Workshop decided to release the miniatures all separately, both the plastic Mark IV power armoured Space Marines, the Iron Armour Mark III Marines, this duo of heroes, and the terrible Contemptor Dreadnought. We won't touch on how absurd that model is, especially at its £35 price point. Believe me, it's worth just saving up a little bit more and getting a Forge World Contemptor. Anyway, on to this review. So as always, we'll have a look at the magazine. I think you probably watched my first look video yesterday. It starts off with Space Marine Terminators. Interesting. A bit more about them there, then straight on to Khorne the Blood God. A nice selection, showcase of Disciples of Slaughter, Khorne Berserkers, Khorne Showcase. So this is the Bloodthirster of Insensate Rage. I think the Bloodthirster is an alright model. I do prefer the Forge World one again, mainly because it's much bigger and awesome looking. You get a little look at some of the other Khorne models. They are showing their age, especially the possessed Chaos Space Marines and the Khorne Berserkers. Khan's a lovely model, but yeah, those two are really showing their age. The Bloodletters have held up quite well, and Karanak is quite a new model, but Blood Crushers and Possessed and the Berserkers, they're in a huge need of an upgrade. The Greater Possessed though, that Games Workshop refreshed last year with the Vigilus releases, are incredible, and I had just wished they'd, off the back of the success for those, they brought out reimagined, refreshed Possessed Chaos Space Marines. I guess they will do at some point. Then it goes on to the Tyrannic Wars, different high fleets, Behemoth, Kraken and Leviathan. How to build Space Marine heroes, very straightforward. Look at this, literally consists of 6 parts for the Terminator and 6 parts for the Chaplain. You'll build them extremely quickly. And then it goes on to a little paint guide, how to paint them with all the details. Yeah, they look alright, not too bad. And then army lists, like an army roster, mission briefing leading by example. So you've got a rules mission, coordinated strike, and then their rules. It's worth noting that these are out-of-date rules, so please don't zoom into these and take these as gospel. You'll find the updated rules in the September 2019 Codex Space Marines book, where you've got the captain in Cataphractii armour as a power points cost of a 6, instead of right here, where he is a power points cost of an 8. And he's got a different ability in the Codex called Angels of Death instead of Codex Discipline. So I wouldn't use the rules in this issue. And then a look at the next 2 issues, which will be 66, which includes the Plague Marine Icon Bearer. One of those bad boys will set you about £17.50, so that's another good saving. And then issue 67 has a unit of 5 plastic scouts. They've been around for a very long time. You still save a bit of money from getting them separately. And speaking of saving money, you know, as these are £30 for a set of 2, you're saving a whopping £22 with this issue. So the Astro Granite texture paint last issue in 64, we can just draw a line under that, because you're getting much more value just in this issue alone compared to the previous one. Okay, so what we'll do now is we'll just go through some size comparisons, and then I will go through the full rules of both of these units from the Space Marine Codex. So straight away, we'll compare them to Primaris. Let's just compare them to Primaris. So here is an intercessor that you get in the subscription. As you can see, this is a chaplain. It is a kind of legacy marine. It looks a bit shorter, not hugely so, but definitely looks a bit shorter. Still holds his own though as a Space Marine. And then compared to a Primaris captain, you can definitely see the miniaturization now coming into play. The captain is a fair bit bigger now in that pose. And then compared to the Terminator Captain holds his own. He's almost as tall as the Primaris, which is fine. His size still works, almost as tall as that Primaris, so Terminator's pretty good size still. And then comparing him to the Captain, so you've got two Captains there. The Primaris is a good head taller. Again, he is resting on that bit of scenery there. So nice couple of Captains. They kind of still work. They don't look too silly, I guess. But then when you start putting Primaris Captains with Chaplains, you know, standard, you know, with that smaller base as well, it starts to look like they're, you know, midget Marines. Comparing them to other miniatures, so just a normal Legacy Space Marine there. Similar height look, similar size. This Chaplain will go well if you've got any Legacy Space Marines in your army already. And compared to the Terminator, yeah, actually a fair bit smaller than the Terminator Captain. Comparing them to sort of Slimarbo. Slimarbo's, you know, a lot smaller than even the Chaplain, and he is quite a hench fellow himself. And yeah, compared to a Terminator Captain, just looks tiny, doesn't he? But there we go. Compared to some Death Guard models, I've got kind of a standard Biologist Putrefier, which is right here. Compared to the Chaplain, similar height actually, which kind of makes sense. These are sort of Legacy, normal size Space Marines. Compared to the Captain, yeah, a little bit similar size again. You know, these wings of vials and heads and grenades make him look a bit bigger than he usually would be. Compared to a Terminator, Blightlord Terminator. Blightlord Terminator is bigger. You'd expect that. Although they've both got their cataphracti, although they've both got what looks to be cataphracti armour, I mean, you know, the legs armour sections look the same, but it could well be Tartarus pattern. You know, the chevrons on the legs look very similar. The Blightlord is bigger. He's been engorged and bloated beyond recognition. And then compared to Typhus, yeah, we won't even go there. I mean, Typhus is absolutely huge model anyway in the cataphracti armour. You know, a whole head and shoulders above even a Terminator Space Marine. So hope those size comparisons have helped. I mean, it is very rare that we get standard size Space Marines in this subscription anyway. I think we got the Space Marine bikes and normal Space Marines in the Land Speeder and the attack bike. And that's kind of it. We didn't get a full squad of Legacy Space Marines. Oh, and Scouts as well. But at least these characters kind of size up with some of the other Primaris Space Marines. Okay, enough about the sizes and things, and Games Workshop's continuation of making Space Marines bigger and bigger all the time. Let's go on to their rules. So we'll start off with looking at the Space Marine Chaplain on the right. He's an HQ choice and he's a power points cost of a 4 and he's a points cost of 72. The bolt pistol is free, the Crozius Arcanum is free, and so are the frag and crack grenades as usual. So it's going to cost you a straight up 72 points, which is quite decent actually for like a secondary HQ. I'd call a captain a primary HQ and a lieutenant or a chaplain or a librarian as a secondary HQ. So his stat line reads: movement of 6 inches, weapon skills 2+, ballistic skill 3+, strength 4, toughness 4, 4 wounds, attacks 3, leadership 9 and a save of 3+. Comparing that to the Primaris Chaplain, the Primaris Chaplain has the same stat line except that he has 1 extra wound at 5 wounds and 1 extra attack. He's also equipped with this Absolver bolt pistol, which is a much better version of the bolt pistol. So the bolt pistol works as usual, so does a bolt gun. If you want to swap that bolt pistol for a bolt gun, you can swap the bolt pistol for a power fist or a weapon from the combi weapons list or one weapon from the pistols list. This particular chaplain is armed with a plasma pistol, which I should really explain as a 12-inch range pistol 1, strength 7, AP -3 and a damage of 1. Like all plasma weapons now, you can overcharge it to get a strength 8 AP -3 and a damage 2, but if you get a 1 on a hit roll, then the bearer is completely destroyed after shooting. So I don't know whether it's worth getting that extra strength and 1 extra damage for blowing up a 4 wound, almost 100-point model. Up to you. The Crozius Arcanum is a melee weapon which adds +1 strength to the user, so that would be strength 5, AP -1 and a damage of 2. Now, back in 3rd or 4th edition, I think it was, Crozius Arcanums were just counted as a power weapon, so they were the same as like a power sword. So pretty much they used to just kill Space Marines outright unless they had invulnerable saves. Now they're just not as good at all. Their AP is only -1, which kind of sucks that they nerfed those technically power weapons out of existence. However, you can swap the bolt pistol with a power fist, so you could have a power fist and a Crozius Arcanum if you really wanted. This model can have a jump pack for a power rating of +1. If the model has a jump pack, has a move characteristic of 12 inches and gains the fly and jump pack keywords. Abilities: Angels of Death, Spiritual Leaders. Friendly chapter units can use this model's leadership characteristic instead of their own whilst they are within 6 inches of this model. That's quite decent, although Space Marines typically have a leadership of 7 or 8 anyway. Rosarius. This model has a 4+ invulnerable save. That's pretty decent. So it's got 3+ normal, 4+ invulnerable. And then jump pack assault. That's only eligible if you've got that jump pack. Priest. This model knows the Litany of Hate, see below, and 1 litany from the Litanies of Battle. At the start of the battle round, this model can recite 1 litany it knows that has not already been recited by a friendly model that battle round. Roll 1d6. On a 3+, the recited litany is inspiring and takes effect until the end of that battle round. So he's got Litany of Hate. If this litany is inspiring, you can re-roll hit rolls for attacks made with melee weapons by models in friendly chapter units whilst their unit is within 6 inches of this model. That's one of the main reasons you're going to get him, to re-roll those hit rolls by melee weapons. He's also got 1 litany from the Litanies of Battle, and I'll just go over those. So there are 6 of them. You can either roll 1d6 to generate one, or you can select one of them. So Litany of Faith. If this litany is inspiring, then when a model in a friendly chapter unit within 6 inches of this model would lose a wound as a result of a mortal wound, roll 1d6. On a 5+, that wound is not lost. This is not cumulative with any similar rules, e.g. Psychic Fortress, Psychic Power, or Flesh is Weak chapter tactic. Number 2, Catechism of Fire. If this litany is inspiring, select 1 friendly chapter unit within 6 inches of this model. When resolving an attack made with a ranged weapon by a model in that unit against the closest viable enemy unit to that model, add 1 to the wound roll. Exhortation of Rage. If this litany is inspiring, select 1 friendly chapter unit within 6 inches of this model. When resolving an attack made with a melee weapon by a model in that unit, on an unmodified hit roll of 6, you can make 1 additional attack against the same unit using the same weapon. This additional attack cannot generate another attack. Mantra of Strength. If this litany is inspiring, add 1 to this model's attack and strength characteristics, and add 1 to the damage characteristic of melee weapons this model is equipped with. That's quite nice. Or Recitation of Focus. If this litany is inspiring, select 1 friendly chapter unit within 6 inches of this model. When resolving an attack made with a ranged weapon by a model in that unit, add 1 to the hit roll. And then Canticle of Hate. If this litany is inspiring, add 2 to charge rolls made for friendly chapter units whilst they are within 6 inches of this model. In addition, when a friendly chapter unit makes a pile in or consolidate move within 6 inches of this model, models in that unit can move up to an additional 3 inches. This is not cumulative with any other ability that adds to a unit's charge roll or increases the distance it can pile in or consolidate. So, although Chaplin's Crozius Arcanum has dropped in terms of it being a proper power weapon, they do have the Litany of Hate and another litany from the Litanies of Battle. A little bit like the Preachers or the Dark Apostles that Chaos Space Marines brought out last year. Space Marines just rode that wave in terms of their chaplains, which is quite nice. Now the Space Marine captain in Cataphracti Terminator armour has his own separate, unique profile, and for good reason, because there are some subtle differences compared to a normal captain in Terminator armour. So to start off with, he is an HQ choice. He's a power points cost of a 6 and a points cost of 95, making him the same points cost as a normal captain in Terminator armour. You are going to have to pay for his combi bolter, or in this case a combi melter, which will set you back another 15 points, and his default war gear is also a power sword, which is an additional 4 points, or you can equip him with what he comes with, which is a chain fist, and that's another 11 points. So already that's 121 points just on your HQ. He's past that 100 point mark, and he's quite a pricey one. So let me read his stat line out to you. His movement speed is a very slow 4-inch movement. His weapon skill and ballistic skill, however, are 2+. Strength 4, toughness 4, 6 wounds, 4 attacks, leadership 9, and a save of 2+. He's a bit of a tank. His single model equipped with a combi bolter and power sword. Obviously this one's got a combi melter and a chain fist. All those weapons work as normal. You may not have heard of a chain fist before. It's a little bit like a power fist. It doubles the strength by 2, so that's strength 8, but it is an AP -4 and a damage of 2. And again, like a power fist, when resolving an attack made by the weapon, you subtract 1 from the hit roll, so he's now hitting on a 3+. Not the end of the world. He can be equipped with this thing called a relic blade though, which bumps his strength up to 6 and gives him an AP -3 and a damage of D3. War gear options: the model can be equipped with one of the following instead of a combi bolter: 1 weapon from the Terminator combi weapons list, 1 weapon from the Terminator melee weapons list. This model can be equipped with one of the following instead of 1 power sword, 1 chain fist, 1 relic blade, 1 weapon from the Terminator melee weapons list. This model can have a storm shield instead of being equipped with 1 combi bolter or power sword. Abilities: Angels of Death, Cataphractii armor, and Iron Halo. This model has a 3+ invulnerable save. When this model advances, half the result of the advance roll. So that's the main reason why you're getting the Cataphractii armor. You're giving him that 3+ invulnerable. Rites of Battle. This is usually what normal captains have. You can re-roll hit rolls of 1 for attacks made by models in friendly chapter units whilst their unit is within 6 inches of this model. Storm Shield. A model with a Storm Shield has a 3+ invulnerable. You can give him a Storm Shield instead of that combi bolter or power sword. I'm not sure why you would, because he's got a 3+ invulnerable already. And then Teleport Strike. During deployment, you can set up this model in a teleportarium chamber instead of setting it up on the battlefield. If you do, at the end of one of your movement phases, you can set up this model anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 9 inches away from any enemy models. Keywords: Imperium, Adeptus Astartes, Character, Infantry, Terminator, and Captain. So there you go, quite an exhaustive rules list of both the Chaplain and the Captain in Cataphractii armor. Comparing the Captain in Cataphractii armor to the normal Captain in Terminator armor, they are pretty much the same points cost, but what's happening is that the Cataphractii armor Terminator is a little bit slower at 4 inches, but does have that really nice 3+ invulnerable. So there you go, that's my full review of issue 65 of the Warhammer 40,000 Conquest magazine. What do you guys think of these models that came out a few years ago? Are they still pretty decent? Do you normally pick a captain or chaplain to lead your army, or have you gone full Primaris and pick one of those HQ units instead? Or do you have a nice thematic army whereby you pick a Terminator captain in Cataphractii armor and you also give him a squad of Cataphractii Terminators as well, so it's 3+ invulnerables all round? Please do put it in the comments below, it'd be great to hear from you. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. The Emperor protects.